Guys, this is the first time anyone's ever been allowed to go behind the scenes and film the process on how Arctic can build a brand new snowplow from scratch, raw materials to a finished product out the door, and they do one snowplow every 3 hours. And I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. Good morning, you guys. I'm heading into Arctic headquarters and we are going to build one of their pushers from scratch to finish in just under 3 hours. And you and I are going to get to see exactly what they do to make that happen. So let's get this thing going. Everything comes into Arctic factory as either flat sheets of metal or tubular frame, but from there it gets handcrafted into the pushers that we see. And what they're building right here is the famous moldboard that floats up and down. This is step one, getting it bent to that perfect U shape to help make that snow roll out in front of it. Once the raw moldboard is shaped to the exact right specifications, it moves on to the next step. Arctic employs 60 people year-round building pushers and snowplows full-time, but they employ over 1,500 people plowing snow seasonally. And the history to Arctic came when they decided that they needed to build a better pusher for themselves. After the technician gets everything hand tacked and ready to go, the moldboards get loaded into the robot for final welding. And you'll see that in just a moment. But before the robots begin welding, they go through the entire moldboard, touching it with their sensors to make sure that they have the absolute correct distance for the weld, to make sure that they have a very consistent, steady, even weld. So the robots go through and measure the entire moldboard, memorize everything, and then they turn on the juice and let her go. Okay, all right.
So what we just saw on the moldboard welding cell was before the robots actually struck an arc and started welding the parts.
Yeah.
They stick the wire out of the torch just a little bit. They give, I think, about a ½ inch out of the torch. And what it goes and it pokes the parts, and it finds where the two pieces of metal actually meet to find the weld seam. Just in case that part's off just a little bit, it'll actually use the wire, it'll find the weld seam, and it'll remember where it actually is on that one specific part. So it'll go around, find all the seams, and when it's ready, it'll go and strike the arc and use those corrections to give us a perfect weld.
And that's called touch sense.
Yes.
All right. So what's with the shrink wrap? Because you're just going to unshrink wrap it, right?
Yep. So we have to shrink wrap the pallets with the mold boards just due to safety concerns. So we're picking these up with a forklift. We're moving around on the shop floor. Of course, a great operator might be able to move without them falling off, but we need to be safe. If an operator has to stop a forklift or make a quick turn to avoid an accident, we don't want a pile of 140 pounds coming down on whoever's feet might be around. Found just a little bit of shrink wrap, the best way to get it done.
This is where the spring trip edge gets set, and this guy makes this job look really easy. But Arctic uses a combination of both the spring trip edge and the entire moldboard can move up and over obstacles together. What'd you say, Nick?
I said he makes it look easy. It's incredibly smooth.
Dude, if we were trying to do that in the field, I was thinking that, do you know how many hours of frustration and cussing? And Pedro just like boom, 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 boom. He would be like so frustrated watching guys like us try to do it out in the field. All right, we're off to the powder line. Deburring or deslagging, or what do they call that, what you're doing?
Deslagging.
Deslagging. Okay, that's what they call it. Then it gets shot blasted. Yep. Right there. Yep. So it's got BBs that shoot it to clean it.
Yeah. So we're actually throwing little metal BBs. There's 8 20 horsepower wheels on there. So each of those yellow things is a 20 horsepower electric motor. There's 8 of them, and all they're doing is throwing these little metal BBs at the steel to clean it off.
And then it gets washed.
Yep.
Then it gets dried.
Yeah, get all the water off.
Then it gets painted.
Powder coated, yeah.
Powder coated, and then it gets painted.
Yep.
All right.
Got it.
We can't go into the washer, and we can't go into the dryer, but let's go see how they're powder coated.
Yeah.
All right. Now this metal is actually hot at this point. And I don't want to touch it because I don't want the oils from my skin on that.
Right, exactly.
Right?
So when these go through our washer, they get fully degreased, and then they also get a chemical pre-treatment put on top. Helps with rust prevention, helps the paints, the powder stick to it. But that's exactly right. So this is a chemically treated surface now that's about to go into the powder coat booth, get the powder sprayed on top. Right here is the raw material. It's the powder coat itself that we paint on the snowplow.
It's actually powder?
Yes, it's actual powder. What's happening here, we're pumping air into the bottom of this bin right here. It's called fluidizing. So you'll actually be able to see it's moving around like water, like a liquid almost.
But it's dry, it's a powder.
Right, but it's powder. And that's what lets us pump it through these hoses, pump it out to the gun.
Recycled material.
Yep.
So this machine recaptures everything that doesn't get adhered to the material.
Yep.
It gets reused right here. Yep. Okay, so it goes directly from powder coating right into the oven. And that oven bakes it at what temp?
450 degrees. And we've got this array of IR infrared heaters that'll actually warm up the part and gel the powder coat before it goes in the oven to help kickstart that curing process.
And it takes a bit to do it.
Yep.
So you got to have a long run. So this whole thing is a giant oven.
Yep. Yeah, this whole big horseshoe-shaped structure is a giant oven.
And once it comes out of the oven,
see down in there.
Once it comes out, these fans instantly start to cool it. And then this is a cooling chamber here too, right?
Yes.
This is a cooling chamber.
Yep.
This whole thing is designed to cool off the part.
Yep.
Okay. Nick, what station is this we're at now?
So we're at the frame tacking station. So we've got this giant frame fixture here that does our full range of light duty snow plows. From the 6-foot all the way up to the 15.5-foot light duty snow plow.
Okay, so frame tacking, so you take tubular steel
Yep.
in its raw form,
Yep.
and then you actually create the frame for the plow.
Yes.
Right
Yep.
here, all
Right
in
here.
one spot.
Right here, we tack everything together, we weld the hard to get to areas, and then we send it over to the frame robot.
All right, guys, let's go for a ride. We're gonna load up a big fat piece of sheet metal onto the blah 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 device. Now this will get cut
Yep.
into all of the parts for the moldboards, for the side wings, for everything.
Frame, yeah, moldboard, side frame, everything. Yep.
All
We
right.
run all sorts of thicknesses on this machine, from 16 gauge all the way up to 1 inch.
was that, Simon?
We got our flat bar the same place Menards gets the lumber.
Drink. So you do the big gist of the whole assembly right in this one spot.
Yeah.
You guys, we are on to the next station, but this machine cuts all of your flat stock.
Yep.
But it does something pretty cool.
Yeah, so this machine is our fiber laser cutter. This machine uses a laser beam as well as nitrogen gas to cut the parts. The cool part is we're making the nitrogen gas here ourselves.
Out of thin air.
Yep, there's 78% nitrogen, and we're pulling it out with these babies and pump it in the machine.
Okay, so you're not importing nitrogen, you're creating it out of the atmosphere with this?
Yep. All this is tubes filled with burnt coconut shells. You pump them with pressurized compressed air from a shop air compressor, let it sit for a short amount of time, and when you drain these out, you get pure nitrogen and the rest of the byproducts get exhausted.
Burnt coconut shell.
Yep, that's all it is.
All right, you also make your own welding gas here.
Yes, we do. Yep, we mix carbon dioxide and argon. We've got a gas mixing system right here. We've got big holding tanks outside. And all of this lets us control the materials coming in and the welding process that makes this actual snowplow.
All right, and we're gonna go inside of the machine now with Brandon. And I was giving him crap because I said, does all your buddies say, hey, let's go, Brandon? Yes, absolutely they do. And we're gonna see how this goes. Now you said this machine, Brandon, is so violent that if you were in it, when this is operating, if it hit you, it would eject you all the way into the parking lot?
Oh yeah, it's pretty fast.
Pretty fast, all right. Well, let's crawl inside and see what Brandon's talking about. What does this machine do here?
All right, so this machine is our bulk CNC saw. So not only does the machine have CNC capability, it clamps the material, it moves it forward, it's keeping track of the length, but it lets us cut as many bundles of tube as we can fit in this clamp at once. So we can cut enough tube for 10 frames in one cut. We got 75 feet of table here, so we can set up as many frame tubes as we can fit in 75 feet. hit the start button on this thing, it'll go for an hour, finish all the parts, it'll pull them off, reset it.
Okay, so what's gonna happen at this stage now? We've got everything.
Yep, so we've got the frame fully tacked together, ready to go on the welding robot. So it's gonna come and do the same thing. It's gonna look for the seams, it's gonna check the seam tracking, and then both of these robots are gonna feed out this frame. They'll get the whole frame welded in about 10 minutes. Take a look at the welds the robot did, right, Dave? This is all done by robot?
Yes, sir.
Hey, where to next?
Going to assembly.
Final assembly. So we've got all the components done, wrapped up. This will go through the paint process that we've already seen, and we'll put it all back all together. All right, let's go there next. So this is final assembly. All the finished components go together to create the final snowplow that you guys will see in just a moment.
Go ahead and grab a pop. One together while you're recording, all right?
How many of these do they normally assemble at the same time?
We assemble about 6 at the same time, depending on the sizes. 6 to 9 at a time.
And your name is?
Adonis.
And what do you do for these guys at Adonis?
We assemble. We just assemble.
No, but what do you do?
I just manage the assembly.
I heard you I heard you manage the entire final assembly and
Final assembly, the shipping it out the door, getting it loaded on the truck, make sure everything get out good and every customer get satisfied.
And you head up the entire operation.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was
From head
told.
to finish.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
The question I have for you guys is, where did you guys start with the manufacturing process? I mean, because you're a service company, you guys didn't inherit a factory, you had to figure out how to do this. What were your roots? Where did you come from?
Well, it started off when my father, before we were selling the plows, just making them for our own fleet, one man in a garage. That turned into a couple guys making, 40, 50 plows a year. Then we started selling them, and then we went and got this facility, leased it, and built it in the factory it is today through different stages. And it's been the same guy, Jeff Sexton, who started with my dad 20 years ago till last week, which was his 20th anniversary of building this factory from the ground up.
So you guys had to figure it out right from scratch. It's not like you inherited
from scratch.
Inherited
every
this
step of
thing.
the way.
Yeah, because 20 years ago, a factory didn't exist.
Exactly.
How many people you got working here now?
In this facility?
Yeah.
About 60.
Yeah.
About 60 just building snow plows.
Yep.
Another 1,500 out in the field plowing snow still to this day.
During the winter, yeah, and about 25 people at our service facility up north.
All right, well, I just want to say thank you for letting me come in and invade your space. seeing how you guys build a plow from scratch to finish in under 3 hours. So much appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Guys, this is Lucas, one of the owners. Blake, another owner. Nick, one of
Always
the
a pleasure.
engineers. And we are not done yet because you got to see how the plow got done, but now I'm gonna actually whip you through this factory real fast and outside because there's more actually to this, and they have a second facility too that we didn't even go to, but we will go to down the road, the runway. The runway.
Famous mile of equipment.
Oh, the runway is the coolest thing. It's a mile, right? Of just equipment, all of their equipment lined up, getting ready to go out to the various lots in the season. You only do it once a year, twice a year. Once in the fall and once in the spring, right?
Yeah.
And I'm coming back for that. So if that's something you guys want to see, you got to tell me in the comments down below. Show me, take me to the runway. But let's go you know what? Let's hop on. These boys are always on these things right here. Let's hop on these.
Good old-fashioned drag race.
And let's go check out the rest of the facility. Alright you guys, well I hope you enjoyed today's video. It sure was awesome to be able to come through here and see how if they get these things done so fast and so well. But that's all I got for you on this one. I hope whatever you're working on turns out awesome, you guys. And have a great week, have a great month, have a great year, and a great season. That's it for this one. God bless. Go get them, you guys. Catch you guys on another one.